This is the Chevy Bricktown Showcase.
The Chevy Bricktown Showcase.
It's the Chevy Bricktown
Showcase.
The Chevy Bricktown Showcase.
Yes, the Chevy Bricktown Showcase.
It's the Chevy Bricktown Showcase Special, an insider view of the Oklahoma City music scene, featuring the talents of HARTER, Little League Hero, The Grown-Ups, Clancy Davis, Unmarked Cars, Scott Hartman and Company, 8-Bit Cynics, Jamie Bramble, Camille Harp, Blaze Moon, Hip Hopotamus, Buffalo Fitz, and the Venditos. Presented commercial free by the Oklahoma Chevy Team Dealers. Oklahoma City has a music community as diverse, original, and bursting with talent as any major U.S. city. Yet most of us only know it from the narrow point of view of an audience seat. That's why the Chevy Bricktown Showcase endeavors to learn more about the artists that share our city's stages. What put them on this path? What are their challenges? What keeps them going? How do they turn a nugget of an idea into a connection among complete strangers? Well, to find out, come hang with the band and get to know a few of these modern troubadours.
Well, I grew up with music. My parents are both musicians. My mom's a bass player, my dad's a guitar player, songwriter, and they played the rodeo circuit in Oklahoma whenever I was a little kid. And I guess that first time I took stage was about 4.
The moment that I knew that I wanted to sing, I was in my mother's car and I was 9 or 10 years old, and we were listening to the song "I Can't Make You Love Me" was on the radio, and I remember singing like into the window, like with my hand like this. So nobody could hear me or see me. Yeah, and I was like, I really like singing, and I'm 9 or 10, but like I don't know, but I don't think I'm that bad. I like the way it sounds.
I picked up the guitar I think when I was 12, and like a year later I was playing in bars and pizzerias in my hometown. You know,
Awesome.
Getting in and playing. Mostly just covers. I didn't write anything until I was like 16.
When I was 4, played the tambourine, mean tambourine. Started singing in church and did a few of the contests, you know, county fair, and I was about that tall and about that wide, getting up on stage, so everybody thought
you were cute as pie.
Oh yeah, I had some cheeks now.
I remember the instant that music jumped into me, and it was, you know, some guy singing, and there it was, like all of a sudden, like, oh wow, that's so great, you know. And when I see that happening to people and they can enjoy it, and like that's weird and creepy, and like we're all humans. And it makes me show up and do the next one. I love it.
I don't know about the moment. The moment is hard to. There are lots of moments, but realizing slowly that this is what you're good at and this is the focus of whatever gifts you have been given, and this is what you're supposed to do, and then realizing that you don't have talents in other fields, so that you really need to focus on this, that this is what God or whomever has chosen to grant you with.
Well, he called her Brandy, she called him Joe, and their love was messy as far as love goes. And he called her crazy, she called him mean. Them two's the worst idea this town's ever seen.
And the moment that I knew I wanted to be a musician was in high school. I was in a meeting like with the counselors, and like you do that test that tells you like what field you should maybe go into or whatever. You know, yeah. And I failed everything. And they're like, well, you really need to work on this, and we really need to get you to do this, that, and the other thing to kind of get you up to speed and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I don't care about your stupid test, because I literally sat there and I told my high school counselor, I was like, I'm gonna be a rock star. And my mother was sitting there, and she didn't say a word. She told me later on when I was older that she believed in me, and she was like, I believed in what you were saying because you had so much conviction. Even though rock star was like the stupidest word you could have used, I just knew that that's what you're gonna do.
The desire to make music may come from inside, but the kind of music one makes almost always comes from someone who came before.
I was 12 or 13 when I first learned how to play guitar.
I was inspired by a lot of the music that my dad listened to, stuff like Jimi Hendrix and the Doors, and you know, I would try to mimic that. And
he had cool parents.
Yeah. I guess two of my biggest influences, as cheesy as it may sound, were my parents. You know, my dad always had this awesome stage presence, and I just admired him so much to be able to get up there and do what he did. And my mom was just, I always thought that she was just so cool, and she was always just gorgeous. She was a very, very pretty woman. And she had this awesome little pink Mustang bass, and she was just so cool, and I was like, I want to do that someday.
Towns Van Zandt?
Really?
Yeah, sure, positively.
Maybe Dylan and Woody for me. I learned to play hanging out with old men in western Oklahoma, playing old country and bluegrass and gospel stuff, and Buffalo comes from a similar kind of place.
I really like the guys that can sing and play complicated stuff at the same time, like Dave Matthews. Try to sing and play Satellite at the same time. John Mayer, people like that. And as a guitarist, Eric Johnson.
I grew up listening to like Bonnie Raitt from my mother's side, Joan Baez, Melissa Etheridge, that kind of stuff, which is probably where I got my like tough, well, I try to emulate that, my tough like girl thing or whatever. And then my dad was always listening to like Jefferson Airplane and like Cream and stuff like that, and so I kind of loved the rock aspect.
I love Waylon Jennings. He makes my heart beat fast every time I hear him. I just love him. I can't get enough of him. His voice is so good. Emmylou Harris was one of my favorites. Taney Tucker, of course. She was my mom's favorite, so I always listened to her.
I'd always wanted to play with Aaron in a band. It was cool to bring him in because we used to get together in high school and just jam on Led Zeppelin because nobody else liked to play that stuff. We were big nerds for it.
Even though I'm a guitar player, singer, most of the time, always watching the drummer and like, man, they just hold it all together. And without a good drummer, a band's nothing, you know? You can mess up a little bit on the guitar, general public's probably not gonna notice, but when the drummer messes up, somebody that knows nothing about music's gonna be like, huh, yeah, something just went wrong there.
The artists of the Chevy Bricktown Showcase cover a broad range of sounds and styles, but there's at least one trait they all share. They all perform original music. That comes with its own set of challenges, not the least of which is actually writing it.
Songwriting for you, like, how do you go about it?
It doesn't ever really come the same way twice. Sometimes music comes first, sometimes words. Since it is just me and a guitar a lot of the times, it turns out to be pretty lyrical, you know, conducive to lyrical music. So it's kind of always an ever-changing, fluid process.
What about you guys? How do you guys do it? Two of y'all, that must be difficult.
Well, I have a like extended ongoing library of composition notebooks that just has things that are partially started and written for years. And I often will get stuff going about the same. I'm a good chorus builder. I'm a good hooker. And sailor. And great at hooks. And I go with these things will resolve in time. It's nothing I have to force. If there's 20 songs out of 50 notebooks, I'm okay with that.
I wish I was more methodical about my writing. I'm really not. If it comes, it comes, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. And I don't always make time to write. So whenever I do write a song, it seems like it's just ready to come out. It just pours out on paper, and I think my best songs come out in, 10 minutes.
Do you have a process, or does it just come to you like a guiding light?
Sometimes it's really, I don't know, songwriting is the coolest thing for me. It's like the biggest part for me of music.
Do you write the lyrics first?
Actually, always the last song I wrote came to me in a lucid dream. And I woke up and...
It's been a good night.
It was. I woke up and I had it in my head and I woke up and played it. And that's how that one came out.
So don't tell me that I changed. Look in the mirror and I think you'll find it was always what you were, always what you need, always that you won every game you could ever conceive.
I have dreams where I write songs too. I wake up in the middle of the night with lyrics in my head.
Do you have a pen and paper by your bed?
No, I usually get up and call myself on my cell phone and pick it out on the guitar and try try to sing it right then and there.
So do you guys have like one main songwriter, or does everybody kind of chip in a lot?
I usually have an idea or, you know, some little piece of music, and my favorite thing to do is everyone is 20%. The bands are so much better when they have creative input from everyone. You know, if your band can't do that, like, find some people who can. It's always out of simplicity. It's always out of, you know, if this is easy, this should never be hard.
The trick is somebody will come up with an idea and we all just come together and play it like we know it, like we've already heard it before, like we know it.
Sure.
We know where we're going to go next, and that's when it comes together the best.
It's really all about melody, you know, and like how you can use that, how you can like, trigger people's ears to really dig into what you're saying first, and then second off, really appreciate what is going on.
Of course, the work doesn't stop when the song is written. The true test of a songwriter's mettle comes when their masterpiece is set free to see if it can survive in front of a crowd that wants to hear something they know.
Derek and I were playing a stripped-down grown-ups gig, just a duo acoustic show, and we're in the middle of like kind of a serious original song, and the manager of the restaurant comes up and is like, "Guys, can you speed things up? This is a party," you know, and that totally just like went to my ego, you know, and I wanted to kind of get upset for a second. I was like, nope, let's do this, you know, and just went right into a kind of party song, back into covers, you know, so
yeah,
give them what they want,
that's
what they're paying you for.
That's the thing, is you got to realize that most people don't want to listen to music from artists that they don't know and music that they don't know, so it's kind of a shot to the ego, but you suck it up.
There's something beautiful in an audience either praising you for something like a beautiful thing that you've given to them, or completely booing you out of there and just sitting there going, what the heck was that you just did?
Some places I play as much as 4 hours. So I don't do all original music whenever I play out.
Right.
I've got to do some time fillers, so I do about half and half. You know, people like to hear stuff they know too. I am lucky that I do have a good following of people that appreciate original music, which is awesome. So I'm lucky in that sense that I do get requests for my own music, which is nice.
I remember when I moved to Oklahoma City and Little League moved here, there were many, many more cover bands than there are now. And people would ask me like, oh, why don't you guys do a couple of covers? And I'd be like, oh, you know, it's not really what we do. And they'd be like, oh, well, people like it, you know, you put a song in there and it's cool. And I'm like, well, that's cool, but you know, there are literally like 30 songs of ours that we didn't get to play. We didn't have time for them. So, like, why would I, you know, like if I go see a band, I want to see that person's like energy. I want to see their individuality. I don't want to see them like imitate Jimi Hendrix or something.
Right.
Even though that's cool.
I think not playing covers it says a lot more about you if you can get people interested by playing original music. That's going to get their attention rather than playing a cover song that they know.
Everyone in Oklahoma City has kind of been really accepting of our music. They've definitely made it a home for us, and we get a good response from here. So
I think they might understand it a little bit more here than other places.
Oklahoma City is the most amazing place I've ever seen my entire life. And I gotta say, like, people like Scott Booker and Derek Brown who opened up ACM, that like changed and pivoted my life. And like opened up to me like all the opportunities, because accessibilities that Oklahoma City has would like put it to another level.